Hello and welcome to Courtside with the Ashland University men's basketball team, brought to you by the Ashland University Journalism and Digital Media Department. I'm Miles Irvin, and today I'm joined by Associate Head Coach Brook Turson. Coach, thanks for sitting down with me.
Thanks, Miles.
Let's get right into it. On Tuesday night, you guys traveled down to Columbus to defeat the Ohio Dominican Panthers 69-56. What was the mindset you guys had going into that one, coming off of the Findlay loss last week?
Yeah, it's nice to kind of move on quickly. Normally we have maybe 5 days to a week between games, and we turn right back around and play it on a Tuesday. I think our guys were eager to play again, and obviously getting going on the road, you got to have a different mentality. I thought our guys played pretty well for the vast majority of that game. It was nice to come out with a win.
Going into that game, you guys made a lineup change going with Balahan Audio to start the game. What went into that decision, and how do you think that lineup looked on the floor?
Yeah, that's something that our hand was kind of forced. Javen Etzler started every game this year, and he had a personal issue he had to deal with that weekend. So he actually was not available to us until the day of. So he was kind of coming in, a little bit on the unknown of what was going to happen against Ohio Dominican. But, he still played and gave us great minutes, had 2 big threes in that game. But, having GB in the starting lineup was obviously a good thing for us. We've talked about it in the past, but his energy and his ability just to be infectious in a positive way, it does translate to usually good things for our team, and I thought he played pretty well.
Absolutely, and he also made a three-pointer, which is something we've got to talk about with that game. It was certainly huge for you guys. You guys made 17 threes, attempted 34 of them. When the game was so three-point centric for both sides, especially like it was in the first half, what did you think of that play? Did you think it was too many threes, or were they good looks that you guys were getting?
Yeah, let's talk on the defensive side first. So that's what I do for our team for the most part. I think we give up too many threes at a lot of times, and honestly, maybe that's because we're so good on the 2-point side of things. Teams just kind of settle on taking threes. So we've kind of put an emphasis on making sure we take away those threes. We did a better job in the second half of forcing ODU into shots that we wanted them to take. I think they had 20 made field goals and 12 of them were threes. So we got to flip that number a little bit and make them shoot more twos. But for us offensively, it's certainly a benefit, right? When you shoot and make threes, the game is more spread out. It's more open. I think it breeds more energy into your team as well. So, I don't think we want to necessarily shoot 35, 40 threes in a game. That's not who we are offensively. But we'll take and shoot those threes, especially if they're quality looks, and we got plenty of them last night, and it was great to knock them down.
Yeah, and one of the biggest beneficiaries of that three-point line was Jaron Crews. Heated up in the second half for his second straight 20-point game. What has led to his recent success?
Yeah, Jaron's a great player, and sometimes we probably need to turn him loose offensively, and we did, last night a little bit more. And obviously, you mentioned the Findlay game; he had 20 in that one as well. So he's starting to click and really get going for us, and it just adds another, dimension to our team offensively. And he's done a great job of leading us all season long, and he's continuing to grow in that role. He's an extension of Coach Ellenwood on the floor, and he stepped up last night when we needed him because our 2 leading scorers and Maceo and Cooper, well, they didn't have their A+ games last night, and we got to make sure we can find different ways to win ball games where we maybe don't have our best effort. It was great to see Jaron have a wonderful night.
And you touched on guys like Maceo and Cooper. Maceo has been dominant all season long, and the rest of the conference has started to notice that, trying to get the ball out of his hands and force him to make plays for his teammates. How do you think he's adjusted his game over the last few?
Yeah, he had 5 assists last night, and he's had multiple games of 5+ assists. So he knows that double is coming, and they're throwing everything, including the kitchen sink at him at times when he catches the ball. So he's done a great job of kind of feeling the game out and seeing where he can really attack offensively when he's got maybe an isolation situation or something along those lines. But he's let the game come to him, and a lot of times that's going to draw 2 guys defensively, make the right pass, and then our guys from there just kind of play basketball, and we did a great job of that. When they doubled last night, we moved the ball and attacked and got great threes that we mentioned, those sorts of things. So I've been proud of Maceo this year, just growing offensively. I think he can get better, and I think he would tell you that as well moving forward the rest of the year.
And someone else who has grown offensively this season has been Cooper Davis. Didn't have his best game against the Panthers, but overall he's been playing a lot better this season. What have you seen for him this year that's been different from last year?
Yeah, Cooper's just grown as a leader on our team, which is something we certainly need. He's not a secret weapon anymore. Everybody knows about him. In the last couple of games, Findlay and Ohio Dominican, they've been really tight on him defensively. They haven't had given him any breathing room. So we need to work with Coop, adjust, figure out how we can get him loose a little bit more, maybe put the ball in his hands. Those sorts of things that he's really good at, and we need to continue to grow offensively with him. And he's easy to work with, which is always very encouraging for coaches, because then you can bounce ideas off of each other. And he's very unselfish as well. So that's probably one of the benefits of our team in general, but Cooper especially. He wants to see us win. I mentioned he didn't have his best game last night. That's okay. You're going to have off nights, but he impacted the game in so many different ways, especially defensively last night, that I thought that was huge for us.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, it was great to sit down with you. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Miles.
We will go into depth more on the team's upcoming game against Lake Erie later in today's episode. But for now, let's take a quick break and join you back here shortly. Stay tuned. You're watching Courtside right here on AUTV. Welcome back to Courtside with the AU men's basketball team right here on AUTV. Coach, it's time for the final segment of today's show. Before we dive into the upcoming schedule, let's take a quick look at the standings for the Great Midwest Athletic Conference. On Saturday, you guys are taking on the Lake Erie College Storm, who sit right beneath you guys in the standings. Obviously a crucial game. What excites you about a matchup like that?
Well, I think it's going to be exciting. Not only is it a big game, we're tied together in the league standings. They beat us up there by 4 earlier this year. We've got a little revenge on our mind, hopefully, when they come in. But there's going to be a lot of other things surrounding the game. Military Appreciation Day, our youth camp day is there. So I think it's just going to be a packed gym, an excited crowd. They play a very up and down, fast style. So I think that's going to lead to a lot of really exciting things offensively and defensively for us. So we're just really looking forward to competing on Saturday.
And then for the fans, who should they be on the lookout for to stand out from the opening tip for both teams?
Yeah, they're kind of unique because they play kind of 5 in, 5 out. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint who's going to be the guy on that day. But, their point guard, Derek Anderson's a really good player, and he's been one of their best players the entire year. Cameron Johnson as well. So those are their 2 leading scorers, but a number of guys on their team can impact the game. And we need to have a really good defensive game plan to shut them down. And offensively, it's going to be handling their press and then getting great looks on the offensive end. And making sure we take care of that basketball.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to it. But now let's take a look at some other games down the road before we wrap up the show. You guys are back home for 5 of your next 6 games. How nice is it going to be to not have to travel that much over this stretch?
Well, it's always nice when you get to sleep in your own bed, which our guys do to appreciate. I think we have some games at home where they're winnable, and that can allow us. It's that middle part of the season, right? You can either separate yourself in the middle, or you can kind of stay with the pack or fall behind the pack. So to have those 5 or 6 games at home give us, the advantage of hopefully separating from that pack a little bit in the league standings. But they're all going to be challenging. All these teams in our league are very good, but it will be a benefit to be home for 5 of those 6.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining me, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
As a reminder, be sure to tune in to 88.9 WRBL on Saturday, January 25th, for full live game coverage of Ashland University versus the Lake Erie College Storm, with tip-off set for 3 p.m. I'm Miles Irvin saying thank you so much for tuning into Courtside right here on AUTV.